Yo, Sanjay Uche here, people, giving you my review on Dragon Ball Super Episode 90, episode title, I believe, Goku versus Gohan, the wall that must be passed. I'm sorry if I got it wrong, but let's just get right into it because I know I'm actually a bit later than usual with this review. So, episode 90, I must say, I thoroughly enjoyed it from a fighting standpoint, and it had some awesome characterization in it, really and truly, that I'm pretty sure Gohan fans have been waiting for a very long time, like since the Boo arc, really and truly. Well, yeah. So let's get into it. So this episode really revolved around the sparring match between Goku and Tien teaming up against Piccolo and Gohan. But the true motivations behind the sparring match were essentially not for Goku to test if Gohan and Piccolo were worthy candidates to be on the team, because that's already been decided, but rather it was more so Gohan testing himself against the person he feels he needs to surpass, really and truly being Goku. So that said, let's get more in depth. So we really begin the episode with Goku and Tien and Master Roshi picking up where the last episode left off. In Tien's, I guess let's call it Tien's village for now, is where his dojo is situated in the mountains, and we see Gohan and Piccolo make their way there after completing their training. After even getting a scene of Piccolo essentially officially saying Gohan's training with him is over. So we get Gohan going to Goku and Tien and ask them out to a sparring match. And this is where things really pick up in the episode. It almost felt like this entire episode was was just purely fighting, which I don't really have a problem with. Now, I must say the choreography in this episode for the fights themselves were pretty impressive. I think some of the best choreography in Super. Um, Probably not to date, but it's up there in the top episodes where choreography of the fights are concerned. Granted, the choreography of the fights, I guess since the Goku Black arc, it's been improving steadily since then, and I think Super at this point has found its comfort zone where the fights and putting them together is concerned. So that was definitely a plus in the episode. We get to see Gohan and Piccolo pull out some pretty interesting tag team maneuvers, because the whole gist of the sparring match is that, of course, as usual, they're simulating the idea of the tournament of power, where they're fighting in a ring, there'll be ring outs, and the whole battle royale sense. So we get the match starting, and we see Piccolo building up his ki while Gohan distracts Tien and Goku, pulling out some nice little combinations there. Of course, Goku, Tien being Tien, like I don't know, like ever since last episode, I thought Tien would have been like much more impressive considering he's always training, but Super has really painted him in a really dull light. That's like one of the negatives I've had with his character in Super so far. Like it's like it all went downhill since Dragon Ball ended. But that's been the case for a lot of characters. But let's get back to it. So Gohan manages to really hold off Goku. Of course, they started in base form, and Goku's actually impressed at Gohan's progress. Tien, like, I didn't really see the purpose of Tien in this episode. Honestly, he served no purpose being Goku's partner. Honestly, it was ridiculous. Like he even got sidetracked by Goku and Gohan fight at one point that he forgot to try to take out Piccolo. It was dumb, and of course, Gohan himself even comes back and takes out Tien out of the out of the sparring match. So that was ridiculous. So yeah, so they fight to the point where Piccolo manages to, and this was a pretty cool strategy. Piccolo essentially built up enough ki and sent it off into like an explosion, trying to push Goku out of the ring, but Goku manages to stay intact. Of course, Gohan surprises Goku at the last minute after that and destroys the ring. Of course, they try to call off the match because Tien feels that what's the sense in trying to injure each other if the tournament's just about to begin. But this is where the episode I guess its second win starts to come in where characterization is concerned, because you can see Gohan has reached this mental state where he feels he needs to prove himself, not only to himself but to his father, that he is still a martial artist, and he has decided to try to improve himself continually, just like Goku. So I think from characterization standpoint, the things that were being built up for Gohan from the Cell Saga, it's really being put on show here, and I think that's where the episode really shines, honestly, apart from the choreography of the fight that I mentioned. So after this, we see Gohan challenge Goku to a one-on-one fight where, of course, they eat some senzu beans. Goku powers up to Super Saiyan 2, so always nice to see the old forms, the golden hair forms. I honestly love seeing them. And Gohan powers up to his ultimate form. Um, of course, Goku. It's, I mean, take this with a grain of salt. I myself don't fully understand Gohan's ultimate form, because over the years I've always thought it was just his base form, his full, basically just acting his full power in his base form, and potentially still being able to transform to a Super Saiyan. But with episode, I believe it was 88, we got to see that he can transform into this state. So I kind of think of it like this, in the sense that probably he has like some total amount of ki, and transforming into a Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2 allows him to access that, but transforming his ultimate state allows him to access everything. So I guess it's not really a transformation, but it's an empowered state that allows him to access all his potential. So I'm not sure if he can still transform with a. I don't know if he can still stack Super Saiyan on top of it. That's basically what I'm saying. So yeah. But anyway, let's get into it. So we have Super Saiyan 2 Goku versus Ultimate Gohan. And boy, oh boy, like, like Gohan fans, I can just see, because I myself, I'm there watching, because granted, this episode still has its negatives. I'll get to that when I'm done with the positives here. But it was just interesting to see Gohan go up against Goku. Honestly, I mean, we haven't really had any serious fights, and even back in the day, it was still training between Goku and Gohan. Like, Goku pulls out some awesome strategies here, blinding Gohan with Ki Blast, and then doing that in combination with using instant transmission. That was definitely cool to see. He basically threw Gohan off guard quite a bit in the fight initially, but as the fight proceeded, Goku tells him to bring out more power, and we basically see that Gohan was still holding back, and he tells Goku to, go all out, which, as the fight escalates, Goku pulls out what people would have been bitching about week after week. He pulls out Super Saiyan Blue, but I'm pretty sure in this week's episode, not a lot of people people may not complain as much, considering that it's Gohan. So I guess I don't know if it's probably a bias or people not, but yeah, whatever. So he goes Super Saiyan Blue, and Gohan is still keeping up with him. And I don't think people this week can make the excuse that Goku was holding back. Well, I don't think he went times 10 Kaioken, so he was still holding back, but I don't think Goku was holding back in Super Saiyan Blue, because even for one point towards the end, we get to see Vegeta's sense the fight, and he even smiled. So, and it was good seeing Vegeta again, considering getting close to the tournament. So yeah, so I don't think Goku was holding back at all. We see him pull out the Kaioken, go and tells him to go all out. They make one final clash, and we see that Goku has won the fight. Um, but I must say, I am thoroughly impressed with Gohan, really and truly. Of course, after this, we see that Goku decides to. He's pretty impressed with Gohan, um, and decides to make him the team leader. So that's interesting. I think that's a fine decision, considering that Gohan is up there at least top three in the roster here of the 10 characters, in terms of power, and we still have him having that strategic mind, because he would have probably made plans with Piccolo, and has taken into account everybody's abilities on the team. So there's that. So that's definitely a plus. So characterization, choreography, the action, the fight sequences, all definite pluses to the episode, which at least makes the episode a great. Of course, that's where the episode ends, and I believe we have four and a half hours left. So yeah, there's that. My problems with the episode, which like it's hard to even try and factor this in at this point because we all know that Dragon Ball Super's scale is a bit busted. Well, the anime at least they try to kind of fix stuff in the manga. I'm not saying the manga doesn't have its problems, but they try to fix stuff in the manga. You can make more logical sense of the power scaling in the manga, but the anime is just, god, it's just a headache. Because problem one, even though we do know that Gohan has a lot of potential, and that's always been the case, that's been built up from Dragon Ball Z, or the earlier days, from the beginning of Dragon Ball Z onwards towards the end, really and truly. But the fact that he could spend 20, basically, let's just kind of highball it and round it up, basically a day and catch up to Goku in Super Saiyan Blue still makes no sense to me, honestly, really and truly. And point number two, what makes this even worse is because the anime keeps the plot point of Goku retaining the god powers in his, if not his base form, at least his Super Saiyan form. And then it's essentially whatever Super Saiyan God's multiplier is, he's basically stacking that on top of that again. And the fact that Gohan can catch up in basically 24 hours is definitely a story writing problem from a where power is concerned, definitely. Oh god, it's it's all right horrible. Like I've tried to probably come to terms with this at this point, but it is still a problem. Like objectively speaking, I have to point it out. This is a definite flaw. Like I'm probably a lot of people might sit down and not dissect it as much and say, Gohan's always had potential, but if we're going by the anime, like if this was the manga, even though it would still be bad, it would be more reasonable considering that Goku in his base and Super Saiyan forms aren't. He's still nowhere near Super Saiyan God in terms of power, and it kind of makes me wonder if Toei is bouncing around with the that plot point, that's narrative, really and truly. If they sometimes keep the fact that, because I mean, we see in the Planet Potafu art that copy Vegeta basically, who's as strong as regular Vegeta in his base form, basically decimate Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks without no effort, which implies that yeah, they do have the power of Super Saiyan God in their base in terms of their power level has been elevated to that bare minimum. So that's really the problem from a power scaling standpoint. And it would have made more sense if they had used the time chamber, honestly speaking. But all in all, that's really the major problem in this episode. But we have to assume that yeah, the power skill in the anime is ridiculous, and I could probably go off on another video where this is concerned to say like probably I don't know should go and be this strong. I don't know. Probably I should do a video about this. Um, yeah, probably. I don't know. Keep your fingers crossed. But that's all I have for this one, people. Tell me what you thought about the episode. Um, rate, comments, subscribe, of course, and I'll see you in the next one.